Hey there fellas, in this video I'm going to show you the best grapple you can buy for your mulching service to gather trees. If you're going to cut and pile and burn, this is the grapple to do it with. This is the Jenkins. It is, at the time of this video, it's a $4,000 grapple. It's about half of the Vernig, but I think it's better than the Vernig. So like you saw in my stout grapple review, the stout and the Vernig have the hydraulic cylinder mounted the same way, where its base end basically mounts up here, the front end mounts up here, and then they got a shield that they have to put over the shaft. And I think that's a really poor design because it puts the hydraulic cylinder in harm's way. You got to have all this shielding. Trees are inevitably going to get up underneath the shielding and attack your hoses and damage your hoses. With this setup, that cylinder is behind a plate. The shaft really doesn't care about tree branches because they're soft enough. They're not going to really hurt a shaft if they come through and hit it. And then your hoses are all nicely tucked away back here. You got enough of a lever arm there, and works pretty great. So the other difference with this style, it's got excavator teeth on the front, which it's a learning curve to be able to kind of skim the ground driving forward and not dig in. And I'm actually considering maybe taking a piece of flat bar, like maybe 2 inches wide, 1/4 inch thick, and just weld that all the way across so it quits digging in. But honestly, I've been running this for 2 years now, and I'm good enough at running it that I'm kind of past that point. If you're going to put a new operator in it or someone in it infrequently, I think it'd probably be worth welding that flat bar all the way across. So yeah, I'm going to start modifying this thing here, and I'm just going to do this all in one video. I'm going to show you what I modify to make it better, and show you basically everything that I don't like about it. But first, let's go through everything that I do like. It's heavy, so it's way heavier than the stout. I don't know if it's 2,000 pounds, but it's close enough to the weight of the Lofness disc mulcher that you can drive up hills, whereas with a stout grapple, it was like an empty bucket, so I'd actually have to back up hills. There just wasn't enough front end weight. I like the jagged teeth because they keep, once you get the trees kind of ratcheted up in there as you're piling trees, it keeps them from slipping out. Sometimes they do stick, but not as bad as I initially thought they would. I was actually going to come in with the plasma cutter and cut them all off at first because I thought I like having them on the grapple teeth, but not down here. But actually, after using this for long enough, it's really not too bad. But you can see, perfect example right here, this stick is wedged in with no way of really coming out unless I come in and clean that out. Another thing is you can dump this all the way straight down to unload it, whereas I think the Vernig, if I remember right, that one doesn't actually want to dump straight down. I could be wrong. Got tons of grease points, so you have 3 zerks, like they have 3 sections of tubing on shaft, so each tube has its zerk. Cylinder obviously has zerks at both ends, so you just keep lots of grease in this thing, and if it starts squeaking, you know it's time to grease. It's built pretty well, honestly. There's not a whole lot of anything bad that I could really say about it. So what would I change, or what am I going to change? Well, as you can already see, they want to put their logo in kind of a really poor spot. Like, it's the J for Jenkins, I'm assuming, and that's already getting bent and shoved back towards our cylinder, so I don't like that. I would definitely leave that as a solid plate. I would also, I'm going to plate this square. I'm going to cover this square, that square, that square, all the way across. I'm going to come in with a plate that extends to here, because what happens is you push into a tree, the sticks come through here, they come up, and then they want to try to rip into your hoses right here. So we're going to plate across there underneath the hoses to protect the hoses. I'm going to put a plate just across here in the middle to also protect this hose here. And then I do have trees that want to shoot through here from time to time, so we'll plate that off. I was able to manage to bend this tooth, and it just keeps bending more. So I have to get a special torch to heat this up enough to actually bend that back down. And then I'll probably weld on some gussets, because once metal bends, it's easier to bend it the next time. So what could they do to prevent that? I would go from this point to this point. I would fill all this material in, because they kind of curve this down. You can see there's a low spot here where they kind of curve that down, so that weakens that a lot. So really, you could just fill that whole thing in when they're cutting that out. So that's something that'd be really hard for me to do after the fact. I'm probably going to end up having to weld material on the bottom side. I'm not going to do that right now, because it's not super pressing. And then you can see I'm bending this over right here. So once I can straighten that out, I'll take just a piece of flat as a gusset and weld that in over this way to keep this from wanting to bend back over again. And this gap in the middle, it's a blessing and a curse. It's kind of something you want to have so that you can pick stuff up easier in certain situations. But what I really, really, really hate, if there's anything that I hate on this other than the lack of hose protection back there, it's how they don't extend kind of this little pattern with their, got 2 arms, 2 arms, 2 arms, and then this guy just stops abruptly, and you leave this big awkward gap. I don't know how many times I've gotten a tree coming up through here and it's stuck, and then I end up having to like chain the tree to another tree, a standing tree, to yank it out. Let's think of a tree ends up falling back, so it leans back this way and then it comes over. How do you get that out? Because when you open the grapple up, the grapple is going to come up, it's going to hit the tree. It's just a pain in the butt. So I would definitely extend this shaft over, have this come all the way back down to the shaft, just the same as these are, and get rid of that awkward cutout. And then for hose management with the ASV, very simple. You go to Menards. This is a high strength bungee cord. It's got a clevis. It actually comes with 2 clevis ends, or carabiner. So I put 1 carabiner in here. I actually had to unbolt this to get that in. And then there's enough that you can get, up above the edge. Then it gives you an easy point to clip this carabiner on, and then that just kind of holds this little curl back. They don't give you a ton of unnecessary hose, and they do have 90-degree hose ends, which works great with the ASV. I haven't tried this on any other skid steer, so if you're wondering if it works good on a Cat 299, I have no idea, because the 299 is the dedicated mulcher, and this is the dedicated everything else. So let me get the new plasma table cutting, and we'll get out here after I get some plates welded on, and I'll show you how it turns out. Just got done welding on all of our plates that I'm putting on for now. I'm going to wait and straighten this tooth and that grapple tooth till later, once I get the propane torch set up. But turned out pretty good, pretty quick and easy job really with the CNC plasma table to cut these plates out. Now our hoses are very well protected, which they weren't before. Yeah. So if you're gonna buy one of these grapples and do this, just make sure you're protecting your hydraulic cylinder shaft. So I got this nice little Velcro high temp shield, specifically for welding in the vicinity of a hydraulic cylinder shaft. That's what this is made for. It's protecting the shaft, because if you get any spatter on the shaft at all, it will basically total out the cylinder. You'll have to get a new shaft, because as soon as that spatter or that nick passes your seals, those seals are toast. They're done. It'll rip that seal out that quick. Put a link right up in the corner of the video for this welding cart. Got a nice video where I show how I built this, and yes, you're perfectly fine having your shielding gas lay horizontally. That's all I got for you for today's video. Thanks for tuning in. Check out Jenkins. They make an awesome grapple. Probably going to find it cheaper from your local dealer rather than ordering it directly from Jenkins. Like I said, this one was a flat, even 4,000 bucks, and it is the full width. This is the biggest grapple. Alrighty guys, catch you in the next video.